Pioneers, we can either live our dreams or we can live in our fears, our failures, our setbacks. And I think a majority of people are actually not living their dreams. They're existing in their fears, their failures, their setbacks. So I want to ask you a question. What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? What is setting you back? You gotta step into the unknown. That moment filled with fear and horror, frustration and anger. And that fear and nonsense is what causes defeat. Yes. It causes hesitation and cowardness and stops us from moving forward, from executing what we know we must do. Hesitation, fear, setbacks, they defeat us. But to win, all we have to do is overcome that moment. The weakening, the hesitation, the hell we are going through. And to do that, all we got to do is rise up, build our fortress, build our legacy, become pioneers. Take action. Get out of bed, put your feet on the ground, head held high, step forward, do not hesitate, do not wait. Go, fight, keep going, keep fighting. Don't quit. You're already in pain, you're already struggling. Like, get something for your pain, your struggles. It don't make sense to go through all that nonsense and not get nothing out of it. It makes and takes courage to be successful. It is far easier to not be successful, to be lazy. If you don't want to make waves in this world and you just want to be common, mediocre, be normal and fit in, do it. If you're more concerned about what people think than your life, just fit in with everybody else then. Don't become a pioneer. Dress like them, walk like them, talk like them, act like them, eat like them, go where they go, do what they do. And once you neutralize your uniqueness, your rarity, you no longer have courage, because it takes courage to be different, to be a pioneer. Start small. Start today. We're changing right now. Just right now. And then move on to the next day. One step at a time, one day at a time. And move your life towards a better place. One little step today is one more victory at a time. Changing is not easy, but changing your life and your habits, picking yourself up after you're slapped right down on your face. Once you find out what you want, regardless of what it is, and you combine your brain-heart coherence together, that's when life gets exciting, pioneers. Can I get a hello? It's not the potential, the genetics, it's the perseverance, the hard work, the due diligence. If you constantly keep throwing things at a wall, that's when something's gonna stick or eventually break through. Never give in to what you want. Most people fell in because they aimed too low and they hit that target. They didn't aim high enough though. They didn't believe they could aim higher. If you do what is easy, what is normal, your life will be normal. But if you do what is hard, your life will be abundant. Once you realize who you are, you stop operating in lack, desperation. I don't have days where I don't feel like it. Why, coach? Because I'm counting on me. My life is counting on me. My son is counting on me. I don't have days to waste. Minutes, hours, seconds to waste. So stop wasting time. Stop listening to the world right now and listen to yourself and go out and do the work. Build your fortress, build your legacy to bring your vision into reality, into life. because what you believe in your hearts and speak in your minds will eventually become your words and your reality. And what you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mindset. And what gets ingrained in your subconscious mindset becomes an unconscious action and an unconscious activity. And I've always wanted mine to be guideful, helpful, and nurturing to others. And I try to be as calm, cool, and collective and in the center as possible when I talk about everything, when I come out here, when I talk about crypto and the truth, my truth, anything, because I know it's scary for people when you give them that very shell-shocking one-sided take. It's going to create division, and we don't need that right now in life. We need people becoming self-reliant, becoming leaders, better researchers, and more motivated to actually better themselves and develop their own craft and skill and their own plan. And hopefully when that day comes, they master that. Even if it's in trading, they're able to trade their exit plan, And when we come together as a community and do that together, we can rely on each other. We don't have to rely on other people, the government, etc. Regardless of the rules of life and the game, the matrix, when we work together and have teamwork with our fellow men and women and we help each other, we become abundant. And we can only do that by staying more centered in bliss, neutrality. And we can never do that by being on the extreme opposite ends on that. That's where we're going to have harmony, peace, and abundance in life. And that's where I wanted to start this video off today. I've taken a few days off from the charts and since my last video, and I came out and, nothing's really changed. Still getting rejected from this 21,500 sudden destruction range that we have talked about. And I've watched here and there with the crypto community, and I'm not talking about my pioneers. I'm talking about on Twitter, on YouTube, and this and that and the third. And I just see a lot of, again, not necessarily in my community, they're much more sophisticated and a lot more aware and in tune of what's going on in this world, in this matrix, in these markets, in life. And they're a lot more emotionally controlled to price action, to the news from the black box of Saturn. But it's been pretty wild to see how we're getting from the news and social media FOMO energy in the retail space after just a matter of a week of price action in the markets. And I just wanted to let a lot of you know that if you pull up a lot of these charts, like some of these cryptos that are going euphoric that they're talking about, like Zilliqa, and you go back in time, we'll have to go in the daily time frame, and you look at things, we're just hitting previous tops where we've been rejected from before, previous floors. Look at things like Solana as well. You can pretty much pull up most charts and see that, this isn't something to get excited about, to get in the FOMO stage of fear of missing out. We're getting kickbacks into prior supports that got broken towards the end of the year. So these times when they break us through liquidity zones and they pull us super far down, it's like a bear trap, and then they shoot us right back up. It ricochets right back up, like it magnetizes right back up to these 322, 223 exponential moving averages that have been crucial that we've taught about. This is not a good time to start getting excited in these markets. This is the stupidest, most what did we talk about in our last video? The stupidest, most absolute, ludicrous, I no longer have that pulled up, do I? Time to get involved in these markets, But we gotta be more sophisticated. I'm just being real, cool, calm, collective, because I know the charts, I know how this works. I've studied it for years, And I know my pioneers know what they're doing. But these people need to just relax. This market has lost 95 and 98% of its value in most of these altcoins. Even in some really solid things that I would plan on reaccumulating in. 94% for Zilliqa, like Solana, another one. Down now 94% as well. You know, when we lose these things, we're gonna see 100, 200% pumps here and there. Like, look at H bar, you know, to return right back to where we were. 113%, not surprising. As fast as it goes up, it can go right back down just as fast. Look at that Algorand chart. It's a really solid project, but this is a horrible chart right now. Yeah, we're getting bounces off of the 1618 that we said could be a reaccumulation range that we acquired at, but we're up 59% roughly, give or take, plus or minus, in a matter of days. And this doesn't really prove a lot to me, especially when it happened over a weekend, a 3-day holiday, when the stock market is closed, when it proves that it's clearly driven by retail, unsophisticated analysts and traders. You know, it's going to take some sophisticated real market manipulators and players to make this thing really look well. You know, and if we look at some of these other coins like Stellar Lumens, some of these ISO 20022 compliant coins, this is breaking even lower than we expected. Well, we did call for that potential 7-cent range if we did break this 11 cent back to our accumulation range back in 2020 in the bear flu C19 crisis, before we were able to de-risk in the almost 80 cent plus range, you guys. So very important. But coming right back down to where we first accumulated into this project, like, we gotta pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. But we gotta develop our investment thesis so we can become more sophisticated when we view these markets, and not just climb into something that's already pumped euphorically. RSIs, you know, some coins 100%, 200% gains in a matter of days. RSI break out from 30 to 70, 80, 90 in 2 days, going from oversold, underbought, to overheld, you know, overbought. And, you know, we gotta exit out of the markets and just take a day off and spend time in the nature, with our families when these markets do this and we're unsure of what's going on. Don't just jump into a market like I see some of these people doing on social media. We shouldn't be excited when the market's pumping. We should be making decisions and excited when the market's bloody and really boring, like it's been over the last several years, or the past year, you know. So very important for us to just remember this, okay? You know, just some more words of wisdom that I think we need to hear, because we're at this point in the market where we're super low, and I think it'll be beneficial for people to just get out of the narratives and the confusion of what they're seeing on social media, and the narratives that they're getting from Twitter, YouTube, all these unsophisticated analysts getting above 21,500. This is important, you guys. Want to see multiple closes. But we need to go back to doing our own research, because when we research, we actually look at more deeper at the information that's coming at us. You know what I'm saying? When we just view YouTube or Twitter, it's just popping up. It's just coming into our algorithm that we put out there in the world. It's just our algo feeding our bias, okay? That's not research, okay? Real research is you doing the hard work, due diligence, building a craft, and then you start to go and search for more, okay? You start to go out of your way to type in questions and find answers, and you use discernment, okay? The ability to judge well. I want you to use these words right now, because a lot of people that are falling for this nonsense in crypto, and that have been falling for this nonsense in crypto over the last couple years, they're just using data coming at them from someone else, and they're not doing their own hard work development into building their own craft and skill and investment thesis and portfolio. And that's something that I want to remind you all that we've got to do, especially heading into this next year. I mean, look at things like the excitement over Flare networks, and I mean, oh, good gosh, you guys. I mean, what happened? I thought this was I thought this was supposed to go to the moon, you guys. That we finally got our airdrop after 2 years for being XRP participants. What happened? The XRP army's been screaming Flare's gonna take XRP and Flare to the moon. What happened? We were going to Mars, you guys. I mean, this is the all-time chart, and if you want to see a monster red candle, I mean, from BitTrue's future trading chart, down 55 cents, not surprising that 55, down 95%. I mean, this chart pretty much speaks for itself. Got as low as 2 cents on the initial airdrop. Not surprising. So, you want me to tell you what's going on here? What exactly this is? This is because no one actually has confidence and commits to these things. They talk like they are committed, but the moment it hits an exchange, they fucking panic sell. Nobody cares about XRP and its ecosystem the way that they tweet and comment about it. Okay? Seriously. Alright, I'm being honest right here. I give the red pill around the XRP army, okay? People that are talking about all these price targets going to 589, 10,000 overnight, and how they're committed to the XRP ecosystem and Flare, this proves obviously different, okay? They're committed on their tweets, okay? Because they know that's sexy and it gets them a following and likes. But in real life, they don't give a fuck about this shit. They're just trying to make money, okay? So you know what makes our army strong? XRP, red pill XRP army right here. Loyalty to your team makes you army strong. XRP army, the XRP community and army, if we would just all take our next paycheck and put 10% of our paycheck in XRP and kept doing that every week, every bi-weekly paycheck, XRP would start being amazing. It would be euphorically insane, okay? Like helicopter money like you all hope for, you know, because you have confidence and conviction and consistency. So what I'm trying to say is the reason this shit you're seeing on the screen happens is because it got listed and it dropped 95% instantly, is because nobody cares. Nobody's loyal. They talk like they are, but they don't back it up. They act like they care, and then when they get free money, look at what happens. This is from all people that used to say they had conviction and enjoyed this ecosystem and this XRP army nonsense because of the narrative and because they were riding the wave when it was pumping up almost $2, in 2021. They were screaming we were going to 10, and what happened? We're back down to 30 cents, I mean, nonsense, you guys. We've got to start thinking critically, and I was telling people that we would break $1 for the first time in 4 years, a couple years ago, and I was telling people to de-risk back when it was time around the Shemitah of last year. And, if you didn't take advantage of my exit strategy and course that we released in April of last year before we dropped another grandiose amount, well, it's time to start taking advantage today, and here we got this whole event with Flare. It's just dropping after it gets distributed, and unsophisticated people want to take their money. And I wouldn't be surprised if this thing gets bought back up. But it would take XRP probably to recover too, Bitcoin to recover. I really don't know at this point, because this is a really bad time in the market to be playing with these speculative plays, And the irony of this whole thing is if you sold the first 15% of the airdrop, the exchanges and Flare networks would not be giving you the remaining 85% that you're owed over the next 36 months. So if you're not like me and delegating, gaining passive income for the next 36 months, you're somebody that doesn't believe in the project, or you just got free money and said, I'm selling this instantly, and said, forget the rest of the money I'm going to earn over time. Like, You're not even, like, who thinks like that? It's like psychopathy, you know? I mean, I know it's free money. People are gonna take it, you know? I saw a poll where 30% of people said that they were going to sell. So, of course, it's not surprising we see this. 30% is basically a third, you know? We could see this go to fractions of a penny if even more than a third were to sell. It went down from 55 cents down to 2 cents. You guys, so the question is there value long term? I believe so for the people that hold and are delegating, and we'll see what it means. But what's interesting is, you know, Flair said if you sell the first 15%, you lose your 85% that you regain. So that's what's going to be interesting, is what happens, you know, in the future, you know. But it goes back to what I was saying. If we would invest weekly in XRP, and these cryptos that we're invested in like with 10% of our paycheck, just a third, just one city in America, we wouldn't even be talking about Flare right now. We'd be talking about XRP and these other cryptos every other month grow exponentially, like a big communal trust fund, because we had conviction. But this stuff right here just continues to show me why the XRP army is just uncommitted and only there for the hype and the likes, you know. And that's the red pill, you know. And sorry to break your hearts there, but you know, another important thing to say is, if you're somebody that's working a job right now, you better get motivated by what I'm speaking about in these videos. This is your fucking year to break free from all of this. Wow, you guys, nice. We'll talk about this in a little bit, but right now you need to be working on developing a craft and skill, developing a business, doing something you're passionate about, sharing your truth with the world. Get motivated to do that, because the world that we're heading into in the next 10 years, 2023, 2024, 2025, it's not going to be as easy to keep your jobs, get your jobs, and your college fucking degrees. Well, they're not going to mean fucking shit in 2023 and 24 and the rest of forever. They're just worthless pieces of paper. They're fucking done. Throw them out the window, okay? You might as well use it as kindling in your fireplace. And not only that, you're racking up 5 figures, 6 figures, some of you, in debt. Imagine if you were to take that and invest it in yourself, in a business, in investments. You know what I'm saying? I'm not suggesting investments, but land and property, land and houses, you know, put it in yourself. Because that's been my advice for the longest time, is quit playing this game of life and start investing in yourself. Find your craft, your skill, and put it and build yourself, because that'll be the biggest exponential growth you'll ever see. Because your mind, your thought process is your greatest asset, and that's better than an investment that you can just wait and hope on. Investing in yourself is something you can put in action immediately. Remember that, you know, and that's something I'm doing here, you know. And I think we could have more control over these markets if we did what I said before, you know, if we pulled together as a community and pulled our cash flow, whether that be from our business, our jobs, or our savings, and put away 10% on a dollar cost average weekly, monthly basis, you know, regardless if we're in a bull month or bear market. If we did this sophistically in an asset as a community of beings that we believed in, we would never be in these psychopathy bull bear market cycles. And bull and bear markets are just psychopathy. It's the reason why we see so many people confused, because unsophisticated analysts. And we gotta start winning and beating these cycles by developing and paying attention to the skills and craft that we're teaching here. Undeniable. But again, let's get into some of the technical analysis. We're going to start on the lower time frames right here. As you see, the 2-hour time frame. We'll get a quick drink of water. But we're going to start right here on the lower 2-hour time frame and just look at what we're getting back into the heart line and what we were calling a bull flag, a parallel channel, a bull pennant breakout that was very euphoric, overheated on the RSI, but getting back up to the middle of this heart line and getting rejection right now back above that 21,500. Would love to see our first 2-hour daily or first 2-hour close on this above this 21,500 range right here to show some kind of continuation towards the upside. But getting into this 2-hour chart, let's see what we can see. Obviously, we know our 223, 322 exponential movement averages are still well below us and can be some ranges to pull back into. I did finally find our Chicago Mercantile Exchange CME gap that we see. We had a price jump, and we have yet to see this price gap filled that is at psychologically $20,000 and that 1993 range right here. Pay attention to when I pull it down, you see the cursor on both screens come to that green line, that 1993 Shemitah year range that we were talking about. The close right here, the 2-hour close, was at roughly 1993, 1992. So very important. I was glad to be able to finally find that CME futures chart for you all, to be able to show you that gap that we talked about in our last video. So to come back down and retest and close that gap would not be uncommon, like we stated. Like we stated in the past, we do tend to fill these gaps more often than none, but when Bitcoin gets euphoric like this, we can tend to see it continue to break out. And as we approach this $22,300 range in the 223 year, in the Skull and Bones year, it is just exoterically, algorithmically pre-programmed to a code, especially as we get ready to see the Davos convention and meeting in today. You guys got that pulled up for you somewhere. Right here. It ends today, started on January 15th and ends on the 20th of 2023. So very important. The World Economic Forum, where a group of globalist, non-elected elite leaders meet and script out the future for us. And they decide what we do and how we run our businesses, our schools, our finances, etc. And again, remember, nobody ever even elected them to do this. So remember, so very important that we pay attention to why we're seeing this euphoric rally during this time frame, coming from this important 11/11, January 11th, that 111 number. I didn't mean to say 11/11, but that manifestation date we know is very important to the occult. The hidden truths behind the number 111, manifesting, the number of manifesting thoughts into reality. So again, pre-programmed to pump on January 11th into the 15th and through the 20th so far. So we'll have to continue to see what happens. But we do have a now higher high than our previous resistance from our huge bull trap around 11.9, where we got our low November 9th, that 119. Yesterday was January 19th, 119, the mirror of 9/11, something we've been teaching you about, a very esoteric, important thing to pay attention to. So getting back into this, because I just want to talk about this current Bitcoin price action that we're seeing. Remember, we compared this back to 2019, when we very commonly saw these right here in this automatic rally stage. We saw these rising euphoric rising wedges that would just break out into rising wedges and bull flags, bull pennants, okay? And then kept going up to the upside. So something that we've just been paying attention to is how this is acting just like 2019 in rising channels and bull flags, and how they're potentially going to break higher, like we talked about. So we saw it break to the downside with a possible bearish retest to refill the CME gap, but we didn't quite yet. So we'll have to continue to see if we get rejection and come back down and do that. But right now, it's looking pretty good. But again, the RSI is at 77, that's 77. I thought it might have been 72, but getting pretty overheated, overheld, overbought, you guys. So very important on this 2-hour time frame. So we'll talk about some higher time frames and look at that RSI in just a minute. Maybe the daily, the 2-day, we'll see. But we see these previous cycles again continue. When Bitcoin's is bullish, it moves differently than anything else we've seen in the history of the world, okay? So we need to know what to recognize and look for so it can be beneficial for us and our trading portfolios. Alright, so watch this video all the way to the end. So on this 2-hour chart, we had this rising channel, which was technically a bull flag that is supposed to break to the upside. It broke lower, held support of this very important psychological $20,000 range, $20,800 range that we know has been in the cards for quite some time, getting us some resistance. Go back, watch some episodes, you'll see why this has been very important to hold support right here. So a lot of times bull flags are technically supposed to be falling patterns, you guys, but we've been seeing this one in a rising wedge, okay? So very important just to pay attention to. We got our bearish retest where we broke down and we've been consolidating up in this kind of cup and handle pattern, or this kind of W type pattern with the neckline breakout to this 21,900, 21,800. So important for us to pay attention to that. So potentially we could continue to break to that 22,300, okay? 2023 year, tying us into skull and bones, not surprising, you guys. Just gonna have to continue to see what happens moving forward, especially as we head into the weekend. It is 3:22 p.m. giving you this video as we talk about potentially hitting 22,300. Perfect synchronicity. I do believe that this code is 80% organic, you guys, and 20% manipulated by man, who has the ability to precede these things, this organic synchronicity and symbolism that we've been sharing here for the last 3 years. So again, we got this bearish retest setting higher lows over time. So if we get rejected from any one of these ranges that we talked about in our last video, 22,300, 22,700, we could be coming back to retest 21,500. And if we fall below that 21,500, then we could be headed back down to close this CME gap, especially if we don't hold support right here, this psychological $20,000 range. Any low that we get that breaks this low right here would show a trend reversal to the downside with any rejection, okay? But the charts are saying the highest probability is that we get a move down lower, and I'll cover some moves about that in just a moment and some ideas about why. Because again, this is right now as we're around the Davos convention annual meeting. I believe this is the first time they've met again in person since C19 in 2020. I think they've done it virtually the last 2 years. So this is just, to me, like I stated before, a manipulated time period that's just kind of bringing us right back up to this SBX, Sam Bankman-Fried sell-off and nonsense that we saw that came around our last lunar eclipse that put us in this type of W pattern with a breakout. But if we can't get back above this 21,700, break this previous bull trap high from our CPI datings right after the Queen's death and the Federal Reserve meetings, you know, if we can't get back above 23,000 and start closing candles, then I just believe this to be a premature rally that then brings us back down to hold structure eventually somewhere. And again, we'll break this down deeper in just a moment. But we do want to continue to see and pay attention to these horizontal trading ranges that you see on this channel and on this chart right now that we've shared with you going back in the past. Pay attention to the exponential moving averages, the Bollinger Bands that we're just completely, you know, getting back above right now on the 2-hour time frame. So again, this is on a micro view of the markets, to remember to look on the daily, weekly, and see what's going on there as well. But we'll get into that. But I wanted to bring up another chart that I had pulled up for you guys recently. If I can find it, give me 1 second. See if I can find this real quick. It was in our last video, and I'd hate to not be able to share it with us again. We had a great trend line drawn on that chart. This was our falling wedge pattern breakout, getting back above that $20,000 psychological range, holding support that we've been talking about with this breakout. You know, could get resistance from that $22,300 range again. Very important. I had to pay attention to that. Just showing the same thing over. But there's another chart, and I always forget which chart it's on. I had it already drawn out, basically. I don't want to have to redo it. I think it's on this one, actually. Sorry, you guys. I should have been ready. I thought I had it pulled up, actually, but it doesn't look like I do. There it is. Alright, so I wanted to look at this chart and pay attention to this trend line that we talked about and draw one more trend line for you all guys. But I wanted to do it first when we changed from candles view and we looked at this on the area time frame. I wanted to draw one more trend line and discuss this right now. Because if we look at this, we're seeing some very important things. Okay, we got a lot of volatility in the markets, and if you haven't watched any of the videos we've done in this month, during the month of January, I encourage you to go back and watch it. Take notes. There's so many hidden secret gems that I've shared in this video, especially a lot of technical analysis, numerology, gematria, date connections, and I just want to get into this deeper about what's going on, because I've been thinking about you all, because I know you might be curious to what's going on in these markets right now, because we've shot up euphorically and then we've kind of had a retracement, and now we're pushing back up like we've talked about above 21,500 finally, and we're seeing a lot of confusing signals, and I hope in this update video it clears a lot of confusion for you all. So going back simple, taking all the daily closes out and just looking at this on an area, a more simple view, I got a really simple chart pulled up for you all and some more date connections that we'll get at towards the end of this video. But this is very important that we see our final third touch on this trend line, kind of fulfilling the apex of this triangle, you know, kind of explaining some energy we're seeing in this market, and we knew to experience a little bit of downside in the market that we've been seeing recently, this choppiness sideways range, because the RSI was getting overheated, and then we had that gap on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Again, we went over all of this, so not surprised to see this get a little, choppy and sided. And another thing to mention is we just exited Mercury stationed in retrograde, which tends to bring a euphoric time period or a sideways choppy leading to a rally and a pump. So not surprising to see this coming in right here as we exit Mercury station in retrograde. So this chart that we're sharing is very clean, going all the way back to 2017 all-time high to swing low where the selling climax of December of 2018. We can see that we're mimicking and copying this macro trend line, support line, very similar to the bottom of the market in 2018, and this was C19, bounced off, and now we've came back into contact with this December, this January, okay? Very similar to right back here, okay? So is this a right here pullback, choppiness, then rally, or is this right here before a breakout and a continuation into the rally? We'll talk about that. So, I've been telling everyone to consider building positions in your market, your investment thesis during this entire time frame right here over the last several months, because when the market moves down, you want to initiate your dollar cost averaging strategy. And now we're getting confirmations of bullish reversals, especially since we topped this 21,500. And I've been warning everyone about the month of March and April and sell in May, walk away, and the eclipses that we're going to have in April and early May for an automatic rally, something that looks like this back in here. And we seem to be copying this bottoming structure of the last cycle right now. And I think it's important that I talk about this and give out as much information in the month of January leading into next month as I can for you all. I want you all to be prepared for this rally, and that's why I've done the work I've done in the past, hopefully giving you the best breadcrumbs that I can. But if you're unaware of Wyckoff method, a selling climax is a really exciting times for those that were anticipating it, like we were here at the Daily Candle Close News. But for people that were unaware of it, it's been depressing, boring, anxiety-driven time in this market. And since we've had this kick up, it started to bring some euphoria and FOMO and some confusion. People want to know, why is the market doing this? But it's bringing people wanting to jump back in, and we got to be careful, but people are wondering what's causing this. And this is exactly how an automatic rally starts, how the market maker blindsides people. Nobody was expecting this. We were here, but nobody expected a 90% correction, 95, 98% corrections in the altcoins. But for Bitcoin, a full 77% correction. But what this does for me as a sophisticated analyst, it tells me get ready to continue my dollar cost average and now start my accumulations, because there's a difference, okay? I started buying Bitcoin at $3,000 in the C19 crash, all the way up to 7, 9, 10 dollar cost averaging in, and then we de-risked as it pumped up to 20k, you guys, and then we were able to de-risk that into some of our altcoins before they went parabolic over the year, and we're able to de-risk those, okay, because the Bitcoin dominance was really heavy back in this time period, and some of the altcoins were showing great buying opportunities. And so I've been able to do this same thing again because I was willing to be patient, and I've been dollar cost averaging back into Bitcoin over the last several months as well, and been very transparent about that. And the difference between a 14 and 15 or a 15k what we hit and a 21k Bitcoin is minuscule when we're looking at a potential new all-time high next year in the six-figure range. It is negligible, the $5,000-$6,000 difference right here, right now. So it's very important that we don't get fixated on the perfect low or the perfect price. We just come together as a community and start dollar cost averaging in consistently. We look at this as a bottoming structure, and we start buying the red candles that we get on daily, weekly time frames, etc. And we start looking at this as a sophisticated analyst and don't start anticipating a new all-time high anytime soon. So in TA for Dummies, I see what we're getting right now. This next move we get is something that is very parabolic and very quick, but it is not a new all-time high. If we continue to rally upside, it will just be a move to the upside to around possibly 44 to 50, 48k, and it is going to be a de-risking opportunity before we fold back over. It is not price discovery to be anticipated. This is an important year for you to invest your attention and your money into what we are talking about right here, not financial advice, because in 2019, this moment right here, very few people were anticipating it to roll over and have this crisis, this catalyst, this black swan, this market collapse, whatever. You know, if you acted accordingly to technical analysis, you were able to de-risk and use this as a perfect buying opportunity like we did to repeat, rinse and repeat. Okay, I do feel that we are in the final moments of getting into this move right here, and it's so exciting. Basically confirming what we've taught for the last year and mimicking previous history, and that's what technical analysis is predicting future outcome by past data. So if you look at this trend line, we're intersects at the bottom at the start of February, and as early as mid-March, we're looking at about possibly $18,000. Okay, possibly we can wick below it and get bought right back up into that $17,000 range, telling me if we were to get a weekly close that's lower than where we're at right now, then I would not personally think that in this stage of the market, I would not expect anything lower than this trend line. Okay, if we start to hold weekly closes, we can wick below it, yes, but I think this could possibly hold for right now as we continue into March, April. But if we're going to get lower than the 15k, 16k range, this 888 of the Fibonacci extension, it's not going to happen now. It's possibly going to happen into the fall time, September, October, when I think the markets, the stock market, traditional markets are going to finally be in their final lows. And I'm not saying Bitcoin can go lower than this, because again, we have mimicked and copied this cycle, having from 1 year all-time high to all-time low, 1 year all-time high to all-time low is the same thing. Now this is for Bitcoin, not altcoins. Altcoins can absolutely, in the fall time period, if this was to happen, they can absolutely go lower, because we're talking about 22, almost 23,000 different altcoins, most of them speculative and pixie dust nonsense. Okay, and while Bitcoin's in this phase of the market, it will regain dominance and it will destroy altcoins, because it will be the strongest performer, at least what it's showing, what past data has showed us. Okay, and I'm only saying that because of what it's lost and how it's recovered. Okay, I believe it'll be a much more positive hold than the altcoins. Okay, and I've been sharing this with you all. Like, Bitcoin's here to stay. This nonsense about it going to zero or even negative, if you believe that, you're a fucking fool. If you think the carbon emissions and electricity that Bitcoin uses for Bitcoin mining is detrimental, then you should look at the 56 times more detrimental it is that our bank transfers produce. I'm just saying, like, Bitcoin is minuscule to what we see on a daily basis produced by our banks. Okay? So, just very important for us to, pay attention to common sense, you guys, especially in the stage we're in right now. And we are in this stage right here, and it's important that we continue to look at it in this stage and context, okay? And I hope that this video has been very clear and thorough with a lot of market psychology. I want to keep being the teacher, a leader, okay? Now, in regards to this possible rejection, I want to show you this by bringing up the candles, okay? And if we look at a daily chart, we see we're just getting rejected from this trend line right now at 22,100, okay? Basically 22,400, 22,300. So again, multiple confirmations on different charts of why 22,300 in the 223 range could be a very important de-risking range for those that have been dollar cost averaging in over the last year, and especially the ones buying the lows. Not financial advice. My limit orders are gonna hit, and you'll get a notification here on my phone in just a minute if it hits. So not very important, irrelevant, but we're forming a pattern where we're starting to hit our apex somewhere around February and March, okay? So we're getting very close. This is the make or break time period, you guys. This is the moment that is going to determine everything. The one we've been waiting for to de-risk, or a better accumulation opportunity after this de-risking opportunity. Maybe it wasn't great, but if you're on 3x, 5x leverage trading, then maybe you're looking good right now. But if this was to continue to be bullish, then that would go in accordance to what we've been talking about with our think group theory of an automatic rally. And I don't want to repeat myself and talk about recovery targets right now. It's just important that we continue to see what happens in the short term, the near distant future, especially over this weekend. The 21st, tomorrow, the 22nd, tends to bring, we know, we've taught you for over a year, it tends to bring a reset in the markets, giving us that same 22, a change, okay, giving us that same 22, and recycle in the markets, giving us that same 22, you guys. So very important. We just passed through January 18th, 118, okay? Recycle, giving us that 118. So very important. We know the 21st, 22nd can be a very important time period. The new moon could be a bearish time period for these markets, you guys, because we've been seeing, we saw that the February full moon, which tends to be bearish, has gave us this euphoric premature rally. So something to pay attention to over the next few days, okay? So this would just be our third rejection if we look back in time in a row. And if we were to come down, it's showing me structurally it would make the most sense, the first target, to be around 18,100, 19,000 psychologically, that 1993 CME gap. But if we were to come down to 17,100, we're just going to be posting higher lows. And I've got that chart right here, 17,100. If we were to just come down to the 17,100 range, we would still just be posting higher lows. With the previous breakout, have we quite broke out? No, we haven't quite broke out right here. Actually, I mean, this is a different chart too, so that does matter. This is the Binance chart. Certain charts could show different ranges, so that's very important. But we could come back and still set a higher low. Just something important to consider, you guys. And if we were to do that, that would be a trend reversal, okay? So, in plain English, this is looking pretty damn good, you guys. The only thing I don't like is how quickly Bitcoin has moved up. And the RSI going, look at it right now, still on the daily time frame in the territory of 83, a high of 89 on this chart right here. You know, this is not healthy. This is expected for us to slow down and get a pullback. So if we were to get that from 22,300, 22,700, 23,000 even psychologically in the 2023 year, Bitcoin equals 23, not surprising. So, you know, let's talk about some dates and see why we're seeing this again. Today is January 20th, 120. Drop the 0, you get the 12 as we get ready to head into the year of the rabbit, giving us that same 12. Not surprising to see this energy today, January 20th, 12223, year of the rabbit. And it's 117 days from the start of the Jewish Hebrew New Year and sabbatical year, Rosh Hashanah, and the end of the sabbatical year, the Shemitah. Rosh Hashanah began on the 25th, ended on the 27th, and the end of the 7th year sabbatical cycle, the Shemitah, that was so very important, that led into this year's 50-year biblical jubilee that we know is going to be chaotic in all over the world, finance, economically, geopolitically, etc. So very important. So let's go back to yesterday, this very important date of 119, January 19th, and tie it back into the start of Rosh Hashanah as well. We see it was 116-day time period. Pretty important, being the 119. We know Bitcoin just hit its low on November 9th, 11/9. We know the towers fell on 9/11. We know the police, we call them 911 for the emergencies we need. But very important, just some connections we're seeing right here to this euphoric rally leading into this time period. Okay, this 119 is tying us again back to the rabbit year that we are coming into, because we know water rabbit gives us that same 119 when we spell water correctly. So very important. So not surprising that we're getting this pump around January 19th. Okay, and we know, of course, again, Vatican gives us that 11947 as well. Not surprising. I mean, the 21, the mirror 12, we get in rabbit. Okay, we know Brahma gives us that 119. Go and do your own due diligence and research. But again, the all-seeing eye giving us that 119, as well as the motherboard, matrix, and realm, the simulacrum that we live in, giving us that same 119 as we head into the year of the water rabbit. So very important that we continue to just make these connections. So, you know, being in the year of the water rabbit, getting this 119, not surprising. And if you look at Call of Duty Mobile, you guys, well, what do you know? They're sharing this year's theme, Season 1, calling it Reawakening, with a theme of the rabbit, showing us symbology everywhere we look. The year of the rabbit, you guys, see what's coming. Down the rabbit hole we go. They say the rabbit brings spring, blessed tiger returns with frost. Happy New Year to all soldiers. And we know we are exiting out of the tiger year, the year of the water tiger, and heading into the year of the water rabbit. So not surprising to see this, even in games and things that our youth are playing. So very important. Happy rabbit year, you guys. So just the symbology shown to us all over the world, right in front of our faces, that so many people don't know too much about. And even though it's right in front of their face. So go and watch our decode, the Year of the Rabbit decode that we made for you all here on the Daily Candle Close News. It is loaded with gems and connections and dates, and definitely take notes for what to expect this year moving forward. We have many 119 connections over the last month that we've shared, and in the past previous. There may be some people around the world who it's still the 19th, so shout out to all y'all watching this. If you're in another country and it's still the 19th, but this was the 119 date in the 223 year, the Skull and Bones number, and this was definitely important. Something that I thought was something we can pay close attention to, and it's not surprising. And again, Davos was meeting around this time period, and their annual meeting ends on today. Again, tying us into Bitcoin with that 117. Alright, so just taking this into consideration. But getting back into I think that's the only connection I wanted to make, other than we know the 21st, 22nd can bring a microstructure recycle to the market. So something to pay attention to, especially as we get ready to head into the new moon, which tends to be bullish, but our bullish energy can come 3 to 5 days before, and this could be the only bullish energy we get. And leading into the new moon, we get a shift and reversal, and back to the downside. But so this 122, the Chinese New Year date, is something that I'm watching closely, you guys. January 22nd, because it is 119 days since the start of Rosh Hashanah, and it gives us that 17, that 71. That's been very powerful over the last several weeks. But again, this day is the day that leaves 343 days left in the year. And we know that is 7 times 7 times 7. That jackpot in a casino number, the biblical number. So something for us to pay attention to. Just another 119 connection. So this day, we will no longer be talking about the tiger no more. Those connections will be over. We're in the Year of the Rabbit, and we'll be making new connections. So important for us to consider that. And I'm coming at you with a lot of information over the last month, and I'm sorry. I just want you all to be aware of how important this year is going to be for us, with job security moving forward, with our finances, with hyperinflation that's coming, and some things that we've been talking about for quite some time, because I'm trying to be the teacher, you guys, and trying to be the one to guide you into the future, into financial stability and security. Financial freedom's a lie, you guys. We'll never get it, so just remember that. But again, today, this energy we're getting in the markets is also not surprising to me. 22,200 as we just exited the 2022 year, 200. Anyway, 2022 year, as we got ready to head in 22,300 year. We're getting close to this 22,300 range. So important for you to pay attention to that, you guys. Skull and Bones, so very important. But why are we getting this pump and this energy today? Well, because, you guys, we know that we're talking about heading into the Water Rabbit, and today is the start of Aquarius, the zodiac, giving us that 21. So very important, very powerful number, the mirror of 12 that we get in Rabbit. And so today's starting Aquarius, January 20th being the water bearer. We know that's very important. We know that water bearer is giving us some pretty important connections as well in numerology. Being the water symbol. Remember, Wakanda Forever had the water tribe. Avatar 2, Way of the Water, it's all water theme, okay, over the past 2 years. Watch the water was a big saying amongst the social media groups of the world. But just pasting this in here, the Watcher Bearer giving us that same 49 connection as we exited out of last year, Shemitah year, the 49th year, and heading into the Jubilee year. So again, this Watcher Bearer is during the time period where we watched this Super Bowl play, and I gave my prediction and pre-playoff prediction for a potential Super Bowl outcome for the 49ers and the Bills if the 49ers could get past the Eagles. So we'll continue to see what happens here. But just that 49 being the square root of 7 times 7, a very powerful number because we just exited out the 7-year sabbatical cycle. But we were just talking about that number 116 that was tied from Rosh Hashanah to yesterday. And the Water Bearer gives us that 116, that 181, tying us into the 42nd prime number, the 6th star, or Satoshi Nakamoto, giving us 181. And we see this energy around Bitcoin as we head into Aquarius. Not surprising, you guys. So pretty much going to leave this video here. It's just my job to come out and be the teacher, you guys, because I'm so sick and tired of watching teachers or educators, so-called educators, fail in this world. And I'm not going to be known ever as one of those teachers, 28, 34, that same 47 that we know has been very powerful all year. But this 28, and 34, I'm not going to be a teacher that fails, that has my students, my pioneers, sitting in a classroom all day, okay? Sitting in a classroom all day, teaching them indoctrination, giving us that same 34, okay? I'm here to do a lot more than that, to do more than just report on you, 28, 34, okay? I'm here to teach you how to become pioneers and legends, okay? My school is not just a school, it is a university, saying 28, but they teach you to go to schools. No, become divergence and glitches, and become a student here at the Pioneer Academy and University. Become a pioneer, okay? So you can really earn a degree that is more than just a piece of paper, giving us that same 28, you guys, okay? It's all word spellings, and if you don't believe me, well then why did they teach you spells and spelling in school, giving us that same 34, okay? It is nonsense. Do you even know where the word education comes from? Because apparently America does not anymore. It was derived from the Latin word educare, which means to bring out. Instead, they put in information to keep our kids in formation, and then they wonder why they act out of line. Because it is nonsense. They do not understand that the word school is derived from the ancient word skola, giving us that same 33. And didn't teachers give us 137, the 33rd prime number? So who are the real teachers? The children, the pure ones, okay? Remember that. We are always to become the inner child again and just play and not be indoctrinated in educations and their nonsensical indoctrination camps. Education's giving you that same 60 we get in school. So where's the real education in our skull, in our head? The answers have always been within us. Nonsense. This has been, our education systems have been taken over by Zion, and giving us that same 28. Zionist, Bolshevik, giving us the same 28. And it is nonsense. It is time that we step up and become leaders in this world, giving us that same 28. And I'm going to leave this here for all my pioneers. Okay? So take care and God bless. And become a pioneer and a divergent and a leader amongst men and women. Take care and God bless. Build your fortress and build your legacy.